The last light. In a future not so far from now, humanity fell under the shadow of an eternal night. It began with whispers, strange disappearances, livestock drained of blood, entire villages silent come dawn. Then came the dark skies, thick clouds that never parted, a sun that became more myth than memory. And with the darkness, they came. The vampires. They didn't arrive in capes or coffins. They came like plague and wildfire, swift and systematic. By the time the governments of the world reacted, it was already too late. Cities became feeding grounds. Humans became livestock. Resistance crumbled. Faith faltered. Science failed. And so, in just 3 years, the entire human population was turned. The world was theirs. All except one. Her name was Elia, and she was 6 years old. No one knew why she survived. Not even Elia. She had never known a world of sunlight or laughter. Her parents were scientists, working underground in one of the last human enclaves, a hidden bunker beneath the ruins of an old observatory in the Swiss Alps. They had tried to create a cure, a reversal serum, but the vampires found them. The last thing Elia remembered was her mother screaming, her father shoving her into a cold chamber, locking it, and whispering through the glass, "You are the last light. Stay hidden. Stay alive." The world she emerged into was dead. Silent buildings leaned like old bones. Roads cracked and weed-choked. The skies churned with storm clouds that never moved. It rained ash instead of snow. But Elia walked. She walked because something in her small chest burned like a star. An instinct, a pulse, a need to survive. Not just survive, but something deeper, to find hope. She wasn't entirely alone. A small solar-powered AI drone, shaped like a floating orb and named Soul, had been left behind in the lab with her. Her father built it, programmed to protect, teach, and guard her. Soul hovered beside her, glowing gently in the gloom. "Elia," it would say in a kind, metallic voice, "do not linger in shadows." They lingered too. They wandered from ruins to ruins, feeding off abandoned food stores and rooftop gardens long since overgrown. At night, Elia would hide, often in narrow shafts or under piles of rubble, while Soul hovered nearby, casting a faint warmth that made the vampires recoil like smoke from flame. "Why do they fear you?" Elia once asked. "Because I carry a piece of the sun inside me," Soul replied. The vampires ruled absolutely, but they had not conquered the earth entirely. They avoided oceans, salt marshes, and places where old churches stood with cracked bells that still chimed on windy days. Elia took note of these things. She watched. She learned. In time, she realized the truth. She wasn't immune. She wasn't special by blood. She was special by design. Her parents had used the prototype serum, meant to protect against the vampire infection, on her when she was still in the womb. The serum failed on adults. But for a child not yet born, it worked. She was the only being on Earth immune to the infection. And the vampires knew. They didn't swarm her. They watched, stalked, hissed through the cracks in the night like whispers. She would catch glimpses, eyes glowing red in windows, pale silhouettes on rooftops, watching. Always watching. She began to understand. She was dangerous to them, not because she could fight, not because she was strong, but because she was hope. Proof. A seed. And seeds grow. Elia and Soul found their way to the heart of old Europe. Paris, now just a tomb. But beneath it, hidden deep in catacombs older than memory, was something left behind by her parents. Soul guided her with a whisper of coordinates. The vault is beneath the Seine, beneath the bones. There, past collapsed tunnels and silent statues, they found it. A lab preserved in cold storage. Computers flickering to life as Soul connected. Data swirled. Serum samples, blueprints, solar amplifiers, long-lost names of scientists who died before they could finish their work. Elia stood in the center of it all. She didn't understand the technology, but Soul did. And with her blood, a tiny drop, they began again. The plan was simple: seed the skies with light. Soul activated the machine her parents had spent their lives building, a solar satellite launcher. Powered by Elia's blood and the old nuclear cells left behind, it roared to life. And the vampires knew. They descended like black rain, thousands of them, claws and fangs, wings and smoke, a storm of death. Elia stood at the edge of the bunker as they came. Sol hovered before her like a shield, glowing brighter and brighter. You must go. Run, Sol said. No, Elia whispered. This is why I was born. She raised a hand and pressed the final button. High above, the launcher fired. A beam of brilliant white tore into the sky. Clouds shattered. Darkness screamed. And for the first time in 6 years, the sun rose. The vampires burned, shrieked, vanished like frost and fire. Cities lit up in gold and flame. And Elia stood in the center of it, eyes closed, warm light on her skin. She didn't know if they were all gone. She didn't care. She had brought back the dawn. 10 years later, green returned to the earth. Flowers bloomed on rooftops. Rivers sparkled clean. And people, children born free of the infection, played in the ruins of old cities. They called it the New Dawn. And in the center of what was once Paris, a statue stood tall. A girl with one hand lifted to the sky, a glowing orb at her side. Elia, the last light, the one who remembered the sun, the one who gave it back.